When you are constantly thinking about someone, God may be telling you this. Have you ever found yourself unable to shake off thoughts of a particular person, wondering if it's just a coincidence or something more? In so many cases, God might be using this as a way to communicate with you, guiding us towards a deeper connection or purposeful relationship. This experience can be intriguing, leaving us to question the nature of our thoughts and the intentions of God. As we navigate the complexities of relationships and marriage, it's essential to consider the possibility that God is using our thoughts to nudge us toward a specific person or outcome. In this context, constant thoughts about someone can serve as a form of divine guidance, prompting us to explore the potential for a meaningful relationship or even marriage. By paying attention to these thoughts and seeking spiritual discernment, you can uncover the underlying message and align yourself with God's plan. For every individual, God speaks in different ways. Hence, it is important to discern His voice and what He is saying to you. You know, the thoughts of your mind and those inspired by God may be conflicting, but I trust God that this message will bring clarity to your unanswered questions. If you're trusting God for a life partner, and in your quest, the thought of the opposite sex keeps coming to mind, note that this thought was never propelled by your imagination or feelings. It is unusual and noteworthy. Then, God may be insinuating certain things. Firstly, it could mean God is instructing that you pray for that person as a life partner. Yes, this is possible. God may not clearly instruct you to go ask someone out or state your feelings about the opposite sex, but He can place a thought on your heart so that you revert to prayers and get clarity. When God places a thought of someone in your heart, it could mean that He's expecting you to pray about that person. He wants you to trust Him for clarity and the next call of action. You may never know why someone's thought keeps coming to your mind except when you pray, and you can remain unaware of what God is planning if you don't seek His face. I know the Bible tells us that God has a great plan for us, and He knows all our desires and needs, but the Scriptures also instruct us to seek God's face for our every need through prayer. This shows our dependence on God and also boosts our relationship with Him. When God places the thought of someone in your mind, it's a call to prayer. While you pray, come with an open mind. Don't force your feelings on God and allow Him to relate the purpose of His actions to you. As you approach the throne of grace through prayers, never allow the thoughts of lust or infatuation to cloud your heart. Come open and allow God to pass the message. You know, many have been misled by their thoughts. They never related their feelings to God through prayers. For some, they went neck deep into relating their feelings to the person coming to their thoughts, and the story never ended well. Do you know why that happened? Because they left God aside and tried to make things work by their strength, forgetting the word of wisdom in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, that says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will direct your paths." Here's the message. Whatever is initiated by God will only survive under His leadership. Don't be quick to run the race yourself. There could be hurdles that you can't see. Trust God to complete what He has started. So if the thought of someone keeps coming to your mind, go back to the one who initiated it and seek wisdom. Remember, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom are three fundamental attributes that aid your walk with God. Secondly, when you are constantly thinking about someone, God is trying to prevent you from making a mistake. When you desire a life partner, there is every possibility that you'll come across different people from all walks of life. Some may suit your desire, while others may not. But here's one truth. In your quest, you'll always find many people who align with your desire, yet you're expected to marry one partner and remain faithful. So God's way of saving you from all that trouble is by placing the thought of someone in your heart early enough. It could be that you've received the nudge of God's direction towards someone, but He never gave the instruction to go ahead. While you wait, you stay with the notion that God has already placed someone in your thoughts for an appointed time. With that in mind, you don't have any reason to be confused or promiscuous in life. Rather, you stay focused on your life and trust God for the manifestation of His desires through prayers. Many broken homes would have been saved from tragedy if they had trusted God for their life partner. Not just that, if they had patiently followed the clear direction from God concerning who to marry. Remember the story of Joseph and Mary? It is recorded that Mary was betrothed to Joseph, but after the Holy Spirit had come upon her, Joseph planned to leave her because of the unusual situation they found themselves in. But what happened in the night? God came through his angel and instructed Joseph not to leave, but to stay and see to the safe delivery of Mary and Jesus. Beyond the birth of Jesus, here's something notable about their relationship. God was involved from the onset. He placed the right couple together, and his visitation to Joseph confirmed that he was with the right woman. With that in mind, Joseph will likely never have any doubt in mind about the choice of a life partner. This consciousness and assurance is lurking within your heart, pointing to the right person for your life. God will do that because he wants to save you from a costly mistake. A toxic marriage is a torment to the mind. It prevents you from fulfilling your purpose. Take a moment to consider the story of Adam. After God took off his ribs to form a woman, Adam, having seen Eve, declared in Genesis chapter 2, verse 23, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." That consciousness that sprung up when he saw Eve is the same feeling God seeks to plant in your heart so that you avoid making a mistake in marriage. There may be arguments about how you can choose a life partner, but despite all that, one truth that stands out is this: every Christian needs the help of God when choosing a life partner. If you feel your wisdom and intellectual capability can help you, you're wrong. Remember Samson? One of the strongest men in the history of the world, God created him as a deliverer. He had extraordinary strength, but his power couldn't save him on the day of evil. The Bible records that he fell for the lust of a woman named Delilah. He could not deliver himself from the grip of lust despite killing wild animals with bare hands. What does this tell us? By strength shall no man prevail. So wholly put your trust in the Lord, and even in marriage, he will direct your path. Have you seen people who have polluted their body through fornication, adultery, and other inordinate means? I believe you have. There is a sense of guilt in them after messing up their body in immorality. Some do that in the bid to find a suitable partner. But their effort ended in futility. If they had waited on God for a life partner, they wouldn't be in a fix now. God doesn't want you to sleep around before finding out your partner. He can help now and through the future. Trust him.
Thirdly, when you constantly think of someone, God is saying there is a connection between the both of you. For every great destiny, God aligns specific people to help nurture and fulfill his desires. God will never leave you to walk alone on earth. He will send individuals who are aligned to his will and also can help you through your journey. Beyond having general partners come to help you, there is someone meant to stay with you through life and even until death. There is always a life partner for everyone, which means that such a person stays with you throughout your time on earth to help you fulfill God's purpose for your life. When God created Adam, he knew the plan of multiplication and dominion could not be feasible having only one man and many animals. Then the thought of making a companion for him came to mind. God created Eve for companionship and fulfilling purpose on earth. There was a connection between them, a bond that could not be broken by the devil's schemes, even after they were thrown out of the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were able to manifest God's initial desire for procreation and dominion on earth. One man cannot pull through that task. In like manner, God has laid a calling and purpose in your life. You're not too strong enough to accomplish everything alone. This is to say that there is someone who is meant to help you through your journey on earth. This message is not restricted to men alone. It works for both genders. God has established a connection between you and your life partner, someone who not only understands your personality, but also your purpose on earth. There is every possibility that many believers get married to good partners who still struggle to make meaning of their purpose on earth. The marriage of Jezebel and King Ahab comes to mind. The king's heart was greatly influenced by the witchcraft and evil of his wife. He had no solid will of his own, and everything he did was never aligned with God's plan because he listened to his wife. Jezebel was a queen who had a mind of her own. She never sought to serve God. This points to the fact that you can get married to someone who will derail you God's purpose for your life. But when God keeps you focused on someone, He assures you of an alignment and purpose. Keep this in mind. Marriage is not the end. Rather, it is a means to an end. And one major thing God desires of everyone is that you come to fulfillment of your purpose on earth. Whatever hinders that can ruin your life. The story of King Solomon also justifies this truth. God gave him wisdom and the ability to choose for himself a wife. But Solomon fell for the spirit of lust. He desired foreign women, and in doing that, he lost the connection between him and God. If King Solomon had stayed away from those women who sought to partake of his wealth, he would have been named one of the greatest kings in Israel. Dear friend, when the thought of someone keeps coming to your mind, God is saying there is a connection between you and that person, so trust Him and stay aligned.
Fourthly, when you are constantly thinking about someone, God is trying to tell you that you're in the season of marital bliss. For every instruction of God, there is a season of manifestation. You can only go out of God's command when you don't understand seasons. For anyone in a relationship or trusting God for one, there is a season to be in a relationship and also a season for marriage. For the men, there is a season to make your intentions known and also a season to say the wedding vows. For the ladies, there is a season to trust God for the right man and also a season to say yes and walk into your home. If you don't understand the season you're in, you may be walking behind time. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 says, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven." You could be in a relationship already and you're trusting God for the right time to say your wedding vows. While you're waiting, you constantly have a partner coming to your thoughts. This time, it is a different feeling. You know deep down that it is outstanding and not a product of your imagination. That could be God assuring you that you're in the right season. He expects that you take the bold step in your relationship. He is giving a signal to go establish a godly home. For some people, you may be trusting God for funds for your marriage, and in the midst of that, the thought of your partner keeps coming to your mind. That is a green sign from God. You may not have acquired all you need at the moment, but the Bible admonished us in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 7 reads, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." When God gives a prompting, He desires that you walk by faith and trust Him amid uncertainty. If you're in a relationship already and this is happening to you, I implore you to seek God's face so that you align with what He has in store for you. Don't miss your season of fulfillment. On the other hand, if you are not in a relationship but have the intention to speak to a lady, when you constantly think of someone, it could mean that God is saying, this is the right season to make known your intentions to the one you love. Before now, it is expected that you have trusted God in prayers, received confirmation from God, and also sought counsel from your mentors. Having done all of that, God brings you into the first phase of marriage. Just like the pool at Bethesda, John chapter 5 verse 4 has this to say, "For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in first after the stirring of the water was made well of whatever disease he had." This could be your season of marriage or finding a life partner. All you need to do is jump into the water of life and flow with the current of the Lord. Take a moment to consider the story of Ruth and Boaz. Everything that played out was in time and aligned with God's purpose. God used Naomi as a tool for accomplishments. The book of Ruth chapter 3 verses 3 and 4 describes the instruction of Naomi to Ruth. It says, "Therefore wash yourself and anoint yourself, put on your best garment and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. Then it shall be, when he lies down, that you shall notice the place where he lies, and you shall go in, uncover his feet, and lie down, and he will tell you what you should do." All these point to the importance of aligning with God's timing. There is time for everything, and God gives a clue of His intentions to you and expects that you align accordingly. As we conclude this message, keep this in mind. Don't misinterpret the thoughts of your heart and the intent of God over your life. Be careful not to replace God's instruction with your feelings. At all times, trust God for confirmation. Everything you sense can be confirmed by the Holy Spirit. So in your quest for a life partner, never lose your grip on God's presence. Shalom.